welcome to the channel. I'm back to break down this 8-game NBA DFS slate on DraftKings. Before we get into it, if you do enjoy the content at any point in this video, if you could please leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, I would greatly appreciate that. And then don't forget to stay tuned to the end of the video for my lock of the night. And lastly, don't forget to check out all of KJK DFS Links, link below in the description. If you are interested in further content from me, I do offer premium projections for NBA. I also do have an MLB DFS package if you are an MLB player, and I'll be putting out daily content for that. So check that out. And with all that being said, let's go ahead and start breaking down this slate today. First game on the slate, we got Chicago taking on Indiana. This game right now comes in with a 224.5 over/under with a 1-point spread in favor of the Indiana Pacers. So expected to be, a fairly decently paced game, but nothing too crazy. Domantas Sabonis is listed as questionable, as well as Malcolm Brogdon. So keep an eye on that news. Both those guys being in or out is going to be very relevant news to the rest of the team and the usage. Sabonis did not practice on Monday, so he's most likely going to be out. And as far as Malcolm Brogdon's recent update, he's being considered questionable. He was able to take the court for Monday's practice, so I would tend to think he might be back, and Sabonis continues to be out. If that's the case, of course, the guys in the front court are going to get more of the usage bump. Miles Turner specifically at 6'2". A guy that I was very high on last time out. We went up and put up 35 DraftKings points. Pretty solid overall. And, he's going to continue to see a lot more rebounds and a lot more upside with there being no Sabonis. He's going to control the glass. He'll get a lot more usage as well. So I'm going to continue to like him, specifically against the Chicago front court. I have targeting them all season long, but the thing is they did get Nikola Vucevic. So that is a bit of a bump up in their defensive capabilities as far as down low. They didn't quite have that presence early on in the year. Now they do have Vucevic, a little bit of a bigger, taller defender down there, so that's going to help their case. But overall, if Malcolm Brogdon's back, that's going to cut into Caris LeVert's usage a little bit, which is, a little unfortunate, but still Caris LeVert's going to be a great play. He put up 51 DraftKings points last time out. Continue to look for him to have plenty of usage to go around, particularly if Malcolm Brogdon's out. But as far as anyone else, Justin Holiday, Doug McDermott could also see some usage bumps with those guys being out. And on the Chicago side, they're a little bit deeper, but overall production's a little bit predictable. Nikola Vucevic and Zach LaVine are the top two candidates to see a lot of usage. Vucevic putting up 50 DraftKings points last time out. Zach LaVine, as far as his continued usage, it will continue to see lots of looks as well. So those are really the main beneficiaries you're looking to. On the Chicago side, as far as anyone else, like Thomas Satoransky, Kobe White getting questionable, Satoransky will continue to get more usage in minutes as well. If Kobe White comes back, I'm a little concerned about him. But overall, really just looking to more so the pay-up options on the Chicago side. New Orleans taking on Atlanta, second game on the slate. This game should be a great one from a fantasy aspect. A 225.5 over/under, in my opinion, that seems a little bit low for what these teams do and their defensive abilities and the pace. I kind of think this game will be a track meet, so to speak, a 3.5-point spread in favor of the Atlanta Hawks in this one. As far as the injuries are concerned, Zion's listed as questionable, Clint Capella's listed as questionable, Ingram's listed as questionable. We got Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Josh Hart continuing to be out, and Steven Adams listed as questionable, DeAndre Hunter out. Lots of injuries to go around in this one, so similar to what happened last time. Honestly, I said just based upon the injury news and who's in and who's out, I'm just going to love everyone else, and that continues to be the case in this one. You got Bogdanovic at 6'2" for the Atlanta side. He's going to continue to see a lot of usage if there's a lot of injuries on this team. 45, 49, and 51 DraftKings points, 3 of the last 4. Last time he only put up 25 DraftKings points, but he'll continue to see plenty of looks for sure. If there is no Clint Capella, no John Collins, Trey Young's going to be a great play at 9-1. Continue to see a bunch of usage as well. Danilo Gallinari, Lou Williams, 5'7" and 5'3" are going to be 200 price taking on this New Orleans squad. That's not that good defensively. We'll definitely like both of those guys. And then Kevin Huerter as well. There are some more bodies to go around with Lou Will joining the team, so he's getting his minutes cut into a little bit, but all of these guys are going to be viable tournament plays. All can get hot, and all can definitely put up a big score. And on the New Orleans side, the same rule is going to apply. Right now, all these guys being questionable. If they're all out, Lonzo Ball at 7'5" is going to be a great play. Eric Bledsoe at 6'1" will be a great play. Regardless, there's no Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Look for these guys to really be in takeover mode. And then you got James Johnson, Jackson Hayes, both continuing to be great fantasy point producers as well. And Isaiah Thomas at 5'1", the new acquisition, should be playing some minutes with this team being really shorthanded. I don't know really how much run he's going to be able to really take on early on, but both those guys. And then you got Hernan Gomez as well. So just keep an eye on the injury news. And keep an eye on my projections, my Patreon members, being updated later on in the day when all this injury news is released. Philadelphia taking on Boston. Joel Embiid at 10-2. This game comes in with a 222.5 over-under with a 1.5 point spread in favor of the Philadelphia 76ers. Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons, Tobias Harris, Philadelphia finally being back to normal somewhat with Embiid returning. There is no longer going to be a big usage bump to guys like Ben Simmons and Tobias Harris, which is going to make me like this team a little bit less. And the same rule applies on the Boston side, honestly. You got Evan Fournier, Kemba Walker, Robert Williams, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, all these guys being healthy. It's going to be a little bit more difficult to be playing lots of these guys. I would recommend just sticking to one or two players on both sides in this game. I mean, there's some good fantasy point producers. Jaylen Brown at 7.6 specifically, I have interest in over Jason Tatum at 9K. I continue to say, like, when these guys are priced that much apart, I just play Jaylen Brown because it seems to be simple. I mean, it's a big price difference, and if you look at their production and their upside in fantasy point per minute production, they're like the same player to an extent. So I'd rather go on the cheap end. Same applies to Evan Fournier, Kemba Walker, Robert Williams. These guys are the ones I'd be looking to. Marcus Smart, but only be able to play like one or two from each side in this game, and that's how I would approach it. If you like Embiid, if you like Ben Simmons, Tobias Harris, play one or two from each side and move on to the next one. You do have a guy in a Seth Curry at 4.6 who I think is a little underpriced on the Philadelphia side for his role, continuing to play mid-20s to 30-plus minutes. Has plenty of upside at his price tag, so he's one guy you could be throwing in your lineups as well. The Los Angeles Lakers taking on the Toronto Raptors. This game right now comes in with a 215.5 over-under with a 2.5 point spread in favor of the Toronto Raptors. Not exactly expected to be a fast-paced game. Kyle Lowry is listed as out. Fred VanVleet is listed as questionable. If both those guys continue to be out, we're looking at Pascal Siakam, OG Anunoby, Gary Trent Jr. going to continue to carry the load for this team. So would have interest in all of those guys for sure. And then on the Los Angeles Lakers side, there is no LeBron James, there is no Anthony Davis. Andre Drummond is listed as questionable, so it's going to be Dennis Schroeder, Kyle Kuzma, and Montrezl Harrell, the three main beneficiaries you're really looking to for usage on their side. And those would be the guys that I'm really locking in on and playing in this one. Not really looking to get too cute with anyone down here. Malachi Flynn at 3.9 is a guy that continues to see starts on the Toronto side, though, playing like mid-30 minutes, putting up 33 and 43 DraftKings points, and he's still, for some reason, only priced at 3.9, so he's an obvious candidate to be playing in this one. Makes a lot of sense. Memphis taking on Miami. This game right now comes in with a 217 over-under, a 5-point spread in favor of the Miami Heat. Very slow-paced game. Not really sure that this is going to be one I'm on a target from a fantasy aspect, continuing to see both sides get healthy. The Miami Heat added Victor Oladipo. They got Bam Adebayo, Jimmy Butler back, Tyler Hero is healthy, Goran Dragic's healthy, Kendrick Nunn's healthy, and then the Memphis side, it's the same thing. You got Bane, Tillman, Grayson Allen. Brandon Clarkson said is questionable, so I mean that could open up a few more minutes. But you got Kyle Anderson, Dylan Brooks, John Morant, Jonas Valanciunas. If I'm playing anyone on this Memphis side, I'm really looking to lock in on those four players: Anderson, Brooks, Morant, and Valanciunas. All of them seeing pretty decent minutes and decent fantasy point production, so they make sense. But the problem is the game's so slow. Can they really get you there in this game environment? I'm not all too sure. Probably picking one or two of those players. It continues to be kind of the trend on the slate outside of the New Orleans and Atlanta game. You're looking to target on one or two of the players that are really going to have the highest upside game. Not really playing anyone else. So, either a John Morant, a Jonas Valanciunas, or maybe a Kyle Anderson, or Dylan Brooks in the lower range. And on the Miami side, it's the same thing, and maybe even worse. I mean, there's just so many guys to go around in this rotation. Like Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo have a hard time paying these price tags for these guys on a team where there's just so many minutes being thrown in the rotation. It's tough to go there. Detroit taking on Denver. This game right now comes in with a 13.5 point spread in favor of the Denver Nuggets, a 220 over under. Denver's expected to win this one very easily. So a little bit scary as far as targeting the Denver side. I would have a little bit more interest on the Detroit side. Guys like Jeremiah Grant, Mason Plumlee, Diallo at 5.3. Continues to see a bunch of minutes. So those are the guys I'm really looking to lock in on. Diallo was the guy I was high on last time out, taking on his former team. He put up 30 DraftKings points. He only played 24 minutes. So continues to be somewhat of a limited rotation as well on the Detroit side. Josh Jackson playing like 20 minutes a game. All these guys are playing like 20 minutes a game. So I'm looking to target probably the cheaper guys. Guy in Isaiah Stewart at 4.2, put up 29 DraftKings points last time out. If he continues to see like 20 minutes or so a game, he makes sense at the center position. Saban Lee at 3.9, Dennis Smith Jr., Corey Joseph, Wayne Ellington, like all these guys are getting minutes. It's just really hard for me to really want to target guys on their side. On the Denver side, when it turns into a blowout, I will have some interest in some of the younger guys that should get some more run. Guys like a Monte Morris, a PJ Dozier, do make a lot of sense to me in this slate where, this game where it's expected to just blow out. JaVale McGee down here at 3K, if he gets some run in the blowout, he could put up a big game real quick. So maybe taking some risks on those guys in tournaments makes some sense on this slate today. Two more games on the slate. Milwaukee taking on the Golden State Warriors. This game right now comes in with a 233.5 over-under, a 6.5 point spread in favor of the Milwaukee Bucks. Expected to stay close. Expect to be a fast-paced game. Giannis Antetokounmpo is listed as probable, so expect him to be good to go in this one. And if the game stays close, of course, we are always going to have interest in Giannis. It's expected to stay close. Expected to be high scoring. So I do think that Giannis is a great pay-up option. We've talked about so many of these pay-up options that are games that are going to be either blowouts or I'm not comfortable paying up with them because of the pace of the game. Giannis makes a lot of sense. Steph Curry, same applies to him at 9.7. These are the guys I'd be looking to pay up for on this slate today. A much better game environment. It's expected to stay close. We have another game we'll discuss after. Similar environment. We got Jrue Holiday, Chris Middleton, Andrew Wiggins. All of these guys in the mid-range going to be playing lots of minutes. Good fantasy point producers expected to stay close in a fast-paced game. It just makes a lot of sense to load up on these last two games of the slate. Specifically these guys, Andrew Wiggins, Kelly Oubre Jr. Like targeting them. Draymond Green, as far as his role on this team lately, has been somewhat limited. We saw him only play off the bench for a little bit there, but his role's been cleared up recently if you're looking at the actual production. I mean, the guy's put up 34, 48, and 44 DraftKings points the last 3 times out, so I wouldn't let that worry you. He's going to continue to play minutes. And yeah, a lot of interest in the guys in the starters. Giannis, Jrue Holiday, Chris Middleton, Andrew Wiggins, Draymond Green, Kelly Oubre, Steph Curry, really locking on this upper range. Dante DiVincenzo as well at 5'9". I like all these guys that are going to be playing lots of minutes. They're all good fantasy point producers. They just need the game to stay close, and this one's expected to. So it makes a lot of sense targeting this game. And the last game on the slate, Portland taking on the Los Angeles Clippers. This game right now comes in with a 226.5 over-under with a 6-point spread in favor of the Los Angeles Clippers. Decently paced game, expected to stay close, and once again, one I will want to target. Kawhi Leonard and Paul George at 9.2 and 8.1 are the obvious candidates to target on the Clippers side. Close game. Portland doesn't scare me defensively. Going to be up-tempo. Love both of these guys. Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum on the Portland side are the ones I'm looking to target. And then, of course, we do have some role players we can look at too as well. They're a little underpriced. Yeah, Enes Kanter, Norman Powell, Robert Covington in the mid-5K range. Have no issues with playing those guys as well. They're going to need them to have decent games if this game's going to stay close. And I definitely do have some interest in them. And then, of course, there is no Nurkic in this one, so that's just going to make me feel better about playing Enes Kanter for sure specifically. And then you got Ivica Zubac, Marcus Morris Sr., Terrence Mann on the Clippers side as well. Upper 4K range to mid 5K range. This is all what we're talking about. And again, it's expected to stay close. They should get some minutes. Have no issues with you targeting this squad heavily as well. And that is my overall breakdown for this 8-game slate. Before I let you guys go, I got to give you my lock of the night. Let's get into it. And my lock of the night tonight is going to be Stephen Curry at 9.7, taking on this Milwaukee squad. Again, it's expected to stay close, and we all know if the game's going to stay close, most likely it's going to be on the shoulders of Stephen Curry. 9.7 price tag, so I can shoot the lights off from three-point land. Last time out, shooting 3 for 12 from three-point land and still putting up 49 DraftKings points, getting to the line, putting up 37 real-life points. This is what this guy is capable of, and you can just turn that three-point into, instead of a 3 for 12 game, more like a 6 for 12 game. You're looking at 60-plus DraftKings points from Stephen Curry. That's the upside this guy has, and I expect him to have a big game, keeping his team in this one on the big stage against Milwaukee. Stephen Curry at 9.7 is my lock of the night. So there you have it, guys. Stephen Curry. Get him in your lineups, and that is all for me in this one. If you did enjoy the content, if you could please leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. I would greatly appreciate that. I wish you guys all the best of luck tonight, and we will see you in the next one.